Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Be here. Be here right now. Be here, be in this moment, be present, be here now. You know, we've all heard about how important it is to be in the present moment. But, you know, kind of like surrender, kind of like gratitude I talked about in one of the last podcast episodes, there's deeper levels to this, you know? And honestly, it is always, I shouldn't say always, that's a blanket statement. It is often the most simple things that are the most profound, really. And so being present is one of them. So just be now, be here now. I think that was Ram Dass who said that, be here now. Be here now, be here now, be here now. And I don't mean just be here in this podcast. Yes, start with that. But then every moment of your day, the best that you possibly can, be here. Be in this now moment, be present. When we begin to flip into the past, when we begin to fast forward into the future, we are out of the present moment. We are in fear, we're worrying, we're in regret, we're concerned about, we start to create stories, we go into all this stuff. And you know, it's this amazing thing that's been studied again and again and again in the research, that our thoughts will start to send a cascade of emotions, which then begins to have a catalyst for all these different hormones to be released in our body simply by a thought, you know. And so I'm worrying about this, I'm worrying about that, and you know, that begins to actually create biological shifts in your body just by a thought. And so it really, you know, comes down to this, like, am I going to be focused on all of the stuff that that happened, that I can't change, by the way, I can learn from it, but that I'm still holding on to, I'm attaching to, I'm identifying with, I'm blaming, I'm feeling guilt about, I'm feeling shame about, I'm feeling badly about in some way, I wish never happened. Or I'm taking some of that, I'm projecting the future, going, well, this is what I think is coming down the pipeline and it's not good, I'm worried, concerned. That just our mind going to those places creates the shift in our body in a very negative way. In a very negative way, by the way. And so we can take that and go like, oh man, what are you saying, Karen? I gotta censor my thoughts and I can't ever think in negative. No, not at all. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Of course you're gonna be afraid sometimes. Of course you're gonna feel guilt or shame at times. Of course you're gonna feel badly at things at time. But my point is this, sister, is that for a lot of us moving about the world, that's our primary state of being. That's not an exception to the rule, right? That's not I'm having an off day, or I'm going through a tough time, or, you know, like we are choosing, a lot of us too, because we're just stuck in this subconscious programming, which happened between the ages of 0 to 7, where it's like, imprinted. Not that we can't get out of it, but we're in the grips of it, we don't even know, and we're just playing out the roles in this program that we've seen presented to us through parents, through other people in our life, through siblings, and this is not to point a finger at mom and dad or anybody else in your life. Like, it's not. It's just realizing this is the way it works. And until we choose to begin to awaken to the brilliance that is us, we will be locked into that program, into the matrix. And so when we know that our thoughts are so powerful to begin to actually produce emotions where we feel like it's a real thing, when at that point it is just a thought. It could come true, it could not come true, it could be your perception of the way something happened, it is not necessarily the way it went down. Right? We cannot be completely objective when we are inside of moments. We just can't. It's impossible. It's our version of things, right? It's our experience in it. Of course, it's subjective. We were in it, right? But when we know that begins to create emotions in our body, and those emotions start to create shifts of hormones and the way our body actually functions or doesn't function well, and goes into states of dis-ease and disarray and disharmony and all the disses. We just diss our body for all of those thoughts. So if we know that to be true, and science is showing this over and over and over again, this is not just people's thoughts, by the way. Look at any of the work by like Joe Dispenza, by Bruce Lipton. Like, it is over and over again being shown in the research. So if we know that thoughts are powerful enough to do that, then guess what? The thoughts that we choose fucking matter. So are we going to choose to be not in the present moment, again, past, future? That's where fear resides. That's where ego loves to be. By the way, ego, I don't mean like, I know there's, when I use the word ego, it's often think of like, oh, like someone has a big ego. No. Ego is the small self. Ego is, in spiritual texts, is the part of you that's in fear, that wants you to play small, the part of you that wants to separate, that says, nobody understands me, nobody's like me, nobody gets me. Like, life sucks, that part, okay? Ego does not, by the way, cannot survive in the present moment. Because the fear doesn't happen there. Now, you can be the present moment, you can be experiencing fear, you can be experiencing pain, you can be experiencing sadness or loneliness or, whatever the feeling is, and be very aware in it. So that's a very different thing than ruminating and running the story and snowballing it. So we've both been in moments. Think of something like this. You're watching a movie and it's like something really touching or lovely or like moving, and you're in the moment and you're crying, and maybe it's sadness and maybe it's, just joy, maybe it's just gratitude, like you were overcome with the emotion that's spilling out of you through tears. That's a feeling in the moment. And again, could be even feeling sadness, but you're present in it. A lot of times when these emotions come up, we just want to push them away, we want to resist them, we want to whitewash them with something positive and not have the chance to actually feel them. When really it's coming up in you, for your body's kind of saying, hey, we got this thing, we got to move it. Think of like you're moving, right? Maybe you've hired movers, you got friends that help you get a U-Haul truck, and they're like, what do we put the stuff? Okay, that goes over there. Okay, we got to move this over here. We got to move this out of the way to get to this. That is literally your body coming over. Like, think of like a bunch of little moving guys or your friends helping you, going, where do we put this emotion? We got to move it. We got to move it from here to there. And to move it from here to there, the movers are going to have to kind of like, they got to pick it up. It's going to be heavy. They got to feel it. They got to move it around the wall. They got to move it around the stairs. Like, they got to kind of, they got to experience the heaviness of it. They need to experience the awkwardness of it. They got to, formulate a plan of how they're going to get around the corner, right? That's when your bodies bring up emotions, it's like, we got to move this. So please let us feel this. Feel the heaviness, feel the feeling of it, feel, like we got to move it. We got to feel it to move it. You got to feel it to move it. You need to feel it to move it. And when you're in the present moment, you can be feeling those emotions. You can be in that state. But what's interesting, what has been my experience and what I've experienced in working with clients as well too over the years, is that when we're in the present moment and allow ourselves to feel it, like we surrender to it, it actually moves through like a wave. It doesn't become this like, oh my God, I'm feeling it. And then our body goes into tension and contraction. And then we hide it. We shove it back down again. Or we stifle it. Right? We stop our tears. We stop the anger. We go, there's a story around it. Women should not be angry, or I should be okay with this, or let me see the positive. And, we spiritual bypass the stuff that our body is asking us to experience so we can heal and evolve and move forward towards the best version of us, towards our higher self. Ego doesn't want that. It's like, no. Let's stay in the stories. Remember the stories. Keep us small, keep us safe, keep us protected, right? Like, let's not shit on ego, because ego has a place in certain periods of time. But for a lot of us, we're letting ego run the whole show, and that's not okay. Be here now in this present moment. When you're in the present moment, this is where inspiration comes. This is where ideas come. This is where solutions come. There's this crazy fucking notion, you know what? And I see it's such a, it's a repeated mantra. Go on to any social media outlet and they're going to talk about work hard and push yourself and do stuff you don't want to do. And like, yes, there are things in life that are hard, right? It's like, you know, when my kids are freaking out, like that's not a fun parenting moment. And I need to navigate my way through it, right? There are times whenever you're pushing yourself physically, like your body physically through exercise, and you're going to be feeling stuff, right? Like, I understand that, but thinking that, and yes, there are a lot of times, most of the times, that when we go to these deep, dark places, when we fucking hit the rock bottom, when we just, you know, shit comes up in life and it's hard, like, it does not feel good. We might have to at times be like, it's just a day where getting out of bed is going to be a win today. So I understand and I appreciate that. And I don't mean to say that hard work doesn't matter, right? But when I see this whole thing of like push yourself and stay up late and like grind, and there's still like, it is just this, you know, badge of honor. I mean, listen, I used to do this years ago of like, sleep 4 or 5 hours. That's all I need. I got shit to do. It was so full of ego when I look back at the time, and just very, and for a lot of us women too, by the way, this does not work. That is much more of our masculine way of being. And I'm going to actually, my opinion as well on that too, is that a lot of men are just running themselves into the ground with that as well. It's not just something that's a female problem, if you will, but this whole thing of like, we got to push to find the solution. Keep thinking about it. Keep like, brr, kind of thing. And it's like, listen, I've had more times in the last few years than the other 48 years of my life, because I'm 50 now, that I can think that, yeah, there were often times when I like really pushed hard, I could get to a place. There's a lot of times I would just keep hitting the wall. And I just kept thinking, well, it means I got to work harder. Oh, it means I got to do work this way. Oh, it means I got to like try a different, you know, solution, or get a different coach, or get some more information. And those things have been helpful, you know, for sure. But there's been a lot more flow, a lot more ease, a lot more, I'm going to use this word, and this isn't the right word, but here we go. A lot more it being easier when I stay present. The ideas and the inspiration that drop in the present moment are very powerful and impactful. And it's not about a push. So here's what this looks like. I've mentioned this again recently on the podcast. It's kind of like, ever been like, you know, you're trying to think of, like, oh, what's the name of that actor? What's the name of that book? What's the name of that, person I went to high school with? And you're searching, and it can be that feeling of, you feel like it's almost, it's on the tip of your tongue or something, right? And you just keep pushing, and maybe you can, but for the most part, you're like, oh, it's not coming to me, right? And you go, whatever. And you just kind of like put it aside, right? And then you're literally just not even thinking about it. 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, right? Or you're in the shower and you're like, oh, here's the thing. Or you can be, I remember it used to be on dog walks, I would have the best ideas because I was just really, for the most part, present with my dogs outside in nature. I'm moving my body. Like, and it would just be like, boom, it would just kind of like drop into me. And so a lot of the things that we're pushing so hard to have happen that we think are all based on take more action. Yeah, take action. But honestly, then there's a part of just like, let me just be present and listen to my intuition, the guidance within me that is helping me along this way. And it's not by pushing harder. It's by listening more. It's by being still more. And also have you consider that those are not passive ways of being. They're very active. They're just not active in the way that our North American society sees it. Right? We place so much emphasis on the hard work, the pushing, and the late nights, and all that kind of stuff. And again, that's like, all those things are great. I've done that. I've been that. I will be that at times. There's a season for that. But there is so much power in the present moment. I am telling you, sister, there is so much power in the present moment. And it is a constant decision to come back there. So how do you know when you popped out of the present moment? And by the way, the beginning of a real awakening within yourself, of a connection to source, of a, like, I have a lot of clients and women that connect with me and go, I don't know if this is intuition or is this fear, right? And I used to often say that, and this is still true, that, fear is going to often be like, well, you can't do that. It, wants you to kind of play small, right? Intuition, and that, what I used to call the voice, that intuition, that knowingness, is kind of more of an action based, of do this thing, have this conversation, go talk to that person. Just go outside and sit in the sun for 10 minutes. Like, it's those things, right? But what happens is when we choose, because it's like a discipline, right? Listen, this is not, if you're just like, oh my God, I'm rarely present, if ever. Like, you might even be like, oh, even now on this podcast, I'm like cooking at the same time, or I'm on a run and my mind has drifted off, and then I came back again to your voice, and like, it's okay. I've been there. This is the conditioning of our society, right? Don't be present. Push for the future, create your future. Listen, the future is only created in the present moment. I'll let your mind kind of bend around that one. The future is only created in the present moment. It's not created when you go in the future. It's created now. Right? Think if we go back to exercise. Your workouts, let's say if you're lifting weights, right? Your workouts, or you run, right? Your workouts of building muscle happens in the present moment. That's what creates the future. That's what creates your body. Your stamina on a run, your ability to go farther or longer or faster, is created with your training that you do on a regular basis, your runs. That's what creates the future you that's can run faster or longer, or, can run with more ease and more flow, not be out of breath. That happens in the present moment with every single run. Your body getting stronger or leaner, more muscles, happens in the present moment with every single. Do you get that? Your future is created in your present moment, in the present. Your future is created in the present. So the more that we can be here in this present moment, the more that you're also aware when you flip off to the future, or you run away, or you kind of roll back to the past. You'll notice it, because you're going to feel your body's going to get tense. You're going to notice you're getting fearful. You're getting worried. Maybe you can feel it in your body. It might be in your stomach. You just feel tense in your shoulders. You start to get a headache. You're grinding your teeth. You're just feeling like your breath is really constricted. Like, you'll feel it in your body. And so being in the present moment allows you to just kind of go like, oh, right, I'm doing that thing again. My body's just like, oh, I can feel it in my stomach. It's like fear. Like, oh, right, it's that thing I'm worried about. Or it's the thing I'm regretting. Or, okay, let me just kind of honor it. Let me just like, I see you kind of thing. And, I'm going to now choose something different. I see you. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. And now I'm going to consciously choose something. I'm going to feel it. I'm not going to let it like fester out of control and spin out. I'm going to see it, honor it. I see you. And then I'm going to choose something else. And then I'm going to move forward. And then I'm going to help to go back to the present moment again. Everything happens in the present moment. Like, even when you're worrying about the past, you're doing it in the present moment. Isn't that mind-blowing? I remember reading Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, for the second time. I read it for the first time when it first came out. Nothing really stuck back then, back in my 30s. But when I read it last year, it was just like, oh my God. Yeah. So be here now. Be here now. So your more tip for today? You know what? It's just that. I want you to take the next 24 hours and notice. Like, just be very aware and notice. Maybe it could be something where you set an alarm on your phone every hour, and every time that alarm goes off, you're just like, oh my God, was I present? No. Oh man, I was worrying about the past. Okay, cool. Let me bring back to present moment. And you can use your breath, right? 3 deep breaths, something really simple. You could literally affirm to yourself, I am present. I am present. I am here. I am now. I am present. I am here. I am now. Your breath is something that will always bring you back to the present moment, because you can't deep breathe and be worrying about the past or your mind in the future. It's impossible. It's like fear and love cannot exist at the same time. It's one or the other. So for the next 24 hours, just to be here now. Every single time you spin forward, 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. I am here, I am present, I am now. I'm here, I'm present, I am now. It's a big thing, sister. You could take this and kind of go like, yeah, but like, I'm going to really encourage you, like, do this. The simple things are the big things. And this is so much what I do with one-on-one coaching with the women that I work with that are just at a point where they're like, man, I've tried so many things. I'm at a major crossroad, whether it's in relationships in my life, marriage, partnership, parenting, family. It's stuff that's coming down with work. It's with health. It's with like, I don't know who I am. And I have a lot of women connect with me and kind of go, your journey through this kind of midlife breakdown, spiritual awakening is a lot of stuff that I'm feeling. And, I feel that I've been gifted this experience so that I know now how to move through this. And I can teach you how to do that with a lot less pain than what I've gone through and continue to go through on this experience. And to be able to have the tools to make that happen, to be able to have me as support 24/7. I have a client right now that's going through a lot of stuff. And so we're connecting on a several times a day basis. That's so powerful to be able to have that momentum in the moment, to be able to be there for her. Like, what a gift that is for me to be able to do this. Like, I'm so honored by it. But one-on-one coaching it takes a lot of my time, a lot of that energy for me to have that connection and really be there for women. So there's just a small amount of spots that I have that are available for that. And so right now there's 2 spots that are open for one-on-one coaching for women that are, if this is like you, that just like, yeah, you've just hit a bottom. You're like, I don't know what to do anymore. I recognize I need help. I'm ready to invest in me, to invest this time, this money, this energy. Like, just please show me what I need to do and how I need to navigate and move through this to the other side based on your goals and your needs and what you want to see happen. And so if this is something that's really resonating with you, if your heart is saying yes, even if your brain, by the way, is going like, oh, I don't know how we're going to make this happen, and it's fearful and stuff, like, that's okay. Just listen inside. If this is connecting with you, here's what you need to do to apply. Because yes, it is by application, my one-on-one coaching. So, because it's not for every woman, but it might just be for you. It might just be for you. So all you need to do is shoot me an email, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, drkarenosburn@gmail.com. And simply say, Karen, I'd like to apply for one-on-one coaching, and I will connect with you from there. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life with more is really one step away from being here now and present every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.